VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gill Alexander on VSiN.
Good Monday morning to you. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV. However you're taking us in, we appreciate it this morning. It's guessing lines for Week 4 in the National Football League. Gill Alexander, Kelley Bydlon in the hizzy. How's it going, man?
Yeah, rough weekend, Gill. How about you?
That's the man who's no longer in Survivor. That's what I got out of that answer.
It sucks.
Yeah. By the way, if you're just tuning in to Guessing Lines for the first time, it's an exercise. I don't know the lines. I guess them. We look back at yesterday. I guess the lines. Kelley tells me what they are, and hopefully within that exercise, we can extract value. Usually the first reaction is really over time the best, to be honest with you. Obviously, there's news that comes in during the week that could change your mind, but the first reaction is often the most interesting. Let us begin with Survivor, though, if we might.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Let's do that.
A little eulogy for Kelley Bydlon. Dude, I might be gone tonight. Yeah. I could be gone tonight. Circa Survivor is setting all kinds of new records for carnage, the bad kind of records. After 3 weeks. No, it's not even after 3 weeks. There's still 2 more games. Let me not even say that.
Yeah.
Still, with 2 games left in 3 weeks, out of 14,266 entries, only 1,630 remain. 1,630. Do you know what the carnage percentage is on that? 88.57%. Literally almost 9 out of 10, again with 2 games remaining tonight. If the Bengals are to lose tonight, good God, please don't let that happen. But the Bills also, not negligible amount of entries either at 71. Yeah. Bengals are the most picked this week at 988. But the number 2, the number 3, and the number 4 most popular teams this year all go down. The Browns to the Giants. The Bucks go down to the Broncos. The Raiders, they go down to the Panthers, not to mention Niners, Titans, Saints, those kind of things. But those are the big ones. I thought this was going to be the week. When the Jets won on Thursday, I was like, okay, maybe this is the week where, not many people get eliminated. Nope. 3 weeks in a row, it was 39% of entries week 1, 55.45% of the remaining entries in week 2, and so far in week 3, 57.96% of the remaining entries. Again, 88.57% of total entries gone, and we're not even done in week 3. My God.
It has been wild. It has been absolutely wild to witness. Some of these teams just jump out to you of people that picked. I saw this over the weekend. I'm like, 3 people picked the Vikings. I'm checked their schedules. I'm like, man, I feel like there will be a lot better schedule spots. That's just a gangsta pick right there. You're just screw it. Texans coming to town and playing them.
I just have the Bengals left tonight.
I'm rooting
so we'll
for
see.
You, man. I got teasers.
No, I'm not a survivor. You can't play that yet.
Yeah,
can't play that yet. No.
I got teasers tied into Bengals. I'll be rooting for you. But, Brad, I tied everything into Cleveland yesterday. All the entries, and boom.
Little premature survivoration right there. Sorry about that, Kelley. I'm sorry you're out. You're like Kramer. I'm out.
Week 3.
That's right.
2 years in a row. Might even be 3 years in a row. Week 3.
At this point, you have these little benchmarks. You're like, can I get to October?
I know. That's where I'm at in my head right now with this contest. And you know what? We say it every time, Gill. Sign me up again next year. If I could sign up right now, I would. Can
I just throw up this before we get to the Thursday night game? Can we just throw up that one tweet? Do we have that, guys, from Tony Market Tips? Tony Market Tips, do we have that yet? He does this courtesy of Survivor Atlas. He sort of throws that up. He sort of relays to me what Survivor Atlas has discovered. And he has put this in a different kind of context, which is that 5 people lost all 10 entries on Cleveland. Remember, 10 is the max entries. Mm-hmm. 5 people lost them all on Cleveland yesterday, including the poker player, Sean Perry. He's gone. Sorry, Sean Perry. 2 people lost all 10 on the Raiders. There are only 3 people left with 10 entries left. Only 3 people with 10 entries left. Nobody has, by the way, 2 of them have all 10 on Cincinnati tonight. The other has 5 of 10 on Cincinnati. Nobody has 9 entries left. 2 people have 8 entries left. 18 total people have 5+ entries. That's it. Again, back to my point of redundancy comment. 47 people have 4+ entries. 100 people have 3+ entries. Only 100 people out of 14,266 have 3+ entries left.
That's wild. Yeah, it's this is a week that has me questioning strategy. We'll see if Cincinnati wins. Like I had 2. Should I have split? You know what I mean?
I split my remaining 2.
Like, should I have split? No, I got too cocky. I went with Cleveland. It wasn't even that. I loved the schedule situation for Cleveland, as we discussed.
It was the
Friday.
quote unquote proper place to play them. Quote unquote being the key of that sentence.
No, where I got cocky was
quote unquote
was the opening plays of that game, which we're gonna get to.
Oh well, let's go. Let's go to the Thursday night game.
Okay,
we got much to get to.
All right, we got a lot to get to. Guessing lines, firing up, boys. Let's go. Monday morning, as we do, we roll through all the games for a coming week. Guess the lines. Thursday night, we will start with Cowboys and Giants.
The 1-2 Cowboys at the 1-2 Giants. Oh, what a ball game this is Thursday. And by what a ball game, I mean the opposite. Dallas loses to Baltimore, though they made it interesting in the fourth quarter. If you missed this early part, Baltimore's first touch of the ball, 71 yards, 5 plays. Lamar to Charlie Kolar for 30, then Lamar in from 9, 7-0 Baltimore, early first quarter. Then, by the way, this will quietly get washed away in the weekend. Brandon Aubrey hits a 65-yard field goal.
That was incredible.
The second longest field goal in the history of the National Football League. And he was just so nonchalant about it. Yeah, 65, no biggie. Although we did have a lot of misses with long field goals yesterday. That regressed a bit. Right after that, though, Baltimore did the same thing. 7 plays, 70 yards. Lamar to Aguilar for 56, setting up a Derrick Henry 1-yard touchdown run. 2 plays later, 14-3 Baltimore. Then, I want to ask you about this play, because I don't think enough was made of this. Dallas has the ball down 14-3. They're deep in their own territory, their own 7. Dak looks to either be sacked in the end zone or, at a minimum, guilty of intentional grounding. Oh. Somehow he gets away with a garden variety incomplete pass that he just hurls in front of him at his offensive lineman and ends up as a 3-and-out. What was that?
I'm so glad you brought this up.
How is that not a safety?
All right, how many times do we see an offensive lineman grab a ball like that? And you're like, what are you doing, guy? Like, come on, you know you're not allowed to do that. They're going to flag you for it. Couldn't believe it. Because he did that, Gill, I'm convinced because he caught that, they didn't call intentional grounding. In what world is that not intentional grounding in the end zone?
That's why I bring it up. Baltimore would then go 88 yards. Lamar to Henry for 23, the biggest play. Lamar to Bateman from 13 out. It's 21-3. Aubrey, 51-yard field goal before the half, 21-6. And then Baltimore to begin the third quarter. Not to begin, but in the third quarter. 5 plays, 70 yards. Henry for 29 on the drive. Henry in the end zone from 26. 28-6 Baltimore with 11:58 left in the third quarter. That was to begin the third quarter. So it's 28-6. And at this point, if we were going to review the weekend, Dallas would be the worst team on the field all weekend long at this point. But then Dallas comes to life after a turnover on downs. By the way, a turnover on downs from Dallas where on 4th and 4 it was intended for Cooks, and then Cooks completely takes the defensive back and throws him to the ground. Yep. I was like, how is that not a homicide right there? After that, Justin Tucker misses a 46-yard field goal, which needs to be mentioned. Mm-hmm. Early fourth quarter, it's still 28-6. Now, here's where it all changes. Dallas, 6 plays, 64 yards. Dak in from 1, 2-point try failed, 28-12. Dave Ross, noted Dallas Cowboy fan, wished they hadn't gone for 2 there. He just wanted to play it old school style. Then Dallas says, I do declare I want an onside kick here. And they recover it. First ever recovered under the new rules. Recovered onside kick. 8:30 left. Then Dallas goes 7 plays, 56 yards. Dak to Jalen Tolbert from 15 out, 28-18. 2-point try fails. They do declare again, but the Ravens recover this time. Baltimore 3-and-out. Dallas another drive. 11 plays, 91 yards. Couple defensive penalties helping along. Dak to Kevontae Turpin from 16 out on 3rd and 10 at the 16. Touchdown 28-25 with 2:53 left. They kick away. 3rd and 6 at their own 25 for Baltimore. Dallas has 1 timeout and 2-minute warning at this point, but Lamar to Zay for 9. Dallas uses their last timeout, the 2-minute warning. Game iced on a 2nd and 9 from their own 35 when Lamar fakes the end around, pulls the ball out at the last second, 10 yards up the gut ball game. Baltimore 28-25 winners. Prescott 28 of 51 for 379 in defeat. They gave up 476 total yards. They were outgained 274-51 on the ground. Mm-hmm. Where the Dallas Cowboys, who are a sieve of a defense, no defensive tackles. And if you can block Micah Parsons, then you can beat this football team every time. Giants beat the Cleveland Browns. I'm sorry, Kelly. And for all Cleveland Survivor players, I had 1 entry on Cleveland. Opening kickoff, you got cocky, didn't you, though? Eric Gray fumbled.
Oh, of course.
Eric Gray fumbled the kickoff return. Grant Delpit recovered. First play from scrimmage. Deshaun to Amari, 24 yards, 7-0 Cleveland. 11 seconds into the game. You're rolling.
The text went out. Great start, New York. Great start.
Yeah, and then the Giants with an 81-yard drive. Singletary in, 7-7. Then the Giants from their own 7 later, 93 yards. Jones to Neighbors from 3 out, 14-7. Then Cleveland late first half after converting 4th and 1. Deshaun 1st and 10 at his own 40. Sacked by Brian Burns. Fumbles. Elijah Chapman recovers at the Cleveland 30. Several plays later, Jones to Neighbors from 5 out again. 21-7 Giants at the half. The route was on. And then Singletary, and then it was you had so many chances if you had Cleveland here, right? Singletary got hit by Shelby Harris. He fumbled in the third quarter. It was recovered by Ronnie Hickman. Cleveland was set up in plus territory. Hopkins misses a 53-yarder. Then Cleveland was set up at the Giants 49 later. 5 plays, Deshaun to Amari from 6 out. They got the 2-point conversion. It was 21-15, 11:33 left. Then the Giants 3 and out. Then Cleveland took over at their own 20 with 9:53 left. They got it to the Giants 44. Then Deshaun hands it off to Jerome Ford. He never secures it. Just an unenforced fumble, an unforced fumble, as we say in tennis. Azeez Ojulari recovered it, 7:40 to go. Another punt. Cleveland gets the ball. Don't worry, though, the Giants. 4 and out. 4th and 1 at their own 29, fails. Watson sacked. Then Joseph missed a 48-yard field goal badly. No problem. Cleveland gets it again. 4 and out again. Watson
many teases.
Right into Cedric Tillman's breadbasket on 4th down. He can't hang on. Turnover on downs. Anyway, Singletary would break a final one, and then he would smartly lie down at the 1-yard line. For all intents and purposes, that was ball game. And the Giants, despite all the chances Cleveland has, wins this ball game 21-15. I will say, when you put all that in the wash, Dallas minus 4.5 on the road, something like that.
Ding, ding, ding. 4-5 right now, basically mainly 4.5s out there.
Yeah, sounds about right. That's exciting Thursday night action. Guessing lines, reviewing it all, and the coaches. We got to get to that next, right here on a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Coming up Monday on Follow the Money, a week left in the regular season in baseball. We recap a wild weekend, and how about a doubleheader Monday Night Football? Follow the Money weekdays 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to see who at VSiN is on a hot streak? Go to VSiN.com/picks to see all the selections and weekly leaderboard of VSiN hosts, writers, and guests. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber and get every pick sent to your inbox daily. Just head to VSiN.com/pro.
VSiN is thrilled to introduce a new VSiN.com tailor-made to the evolved needs of today's sports bettors. Our upgraded navigation streamlines your journey, allowing you to swiftly access articles, videos, and podcasts. Whether you're tuning in live or catching up on your favorite shows, everything is just a click away. VSiN.com guarantees a fluid and responsive experience across all devices, ensuring you stay connected wherever you are. We have enhanced tools such as our betting splits and expert picks, and introduce innovative features like parlay and odds calculators, all designed to make you a sharper bettor. Our How to Bet section is perfect for beginners, covering the fundamentals, while seasoned bettors can delve into our advanced betting strategies for the competitive edge you've been looking for. Sign up for free on VSiN.com or become a VSiN Pro subscriber, where you can unlock unlimited access to every tool, expert picks, and insight that make VSiN the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on a numbers game, live from Circa, Gill Alexander, Kelley Bydlon. We get tweets at Beating the Book. They're all about Survivor, by the way. I just want to mention one. Indiana Jet. He was one of the 4 choppers last year. He says, well, I'm out too.
Yeah.
He says, I thought sleeping on a large pile of money for my winnings last year would make me feel better, but nope, it's going to be a long day.
That's well written.
Well, he said, let's go Bengals, which I think is for me. I think. Thank you, if that's the case. But, yeah.
It's so depressing.
You got to the promised land last year. You can't expect to go back-to-back. You just can't.
Yeah. I had a couple friends playing in it for the first time this year who both went out last year. It's just hilarious that everybody has the same reaction. Like, I got multiple texts yesterday afternoon of like, I'm so depressed right now, and I don't know why. Like, it's
Survivor.
Like, it hangs over more than you would think.
It's a different kind of loss.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, it's a different kind of loss. Okay, let's go to Sunday.
All right, Sunday, early window, 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific, Saints at Falcons.
The 2-1 Saints now against the 1-2 Falcons. A little NFC South clash early season. New Orleans loses to Philly. This is going to be more about Philly than it is New Orleans, I think. Let's go first place, second quarter. 3rd and 8 at the New Orleans 11. For the Eagles, Hurts picked by Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger in the end zone. After New Orleans 3 and out. 4th and 1 for Philly. At the New Orleans 46, no Tuchesbusch. Hurts to Goddard for 6. I thought that was interesting. 2 plays later, Hurts flushed out of the pocket. Carl Granson sacks him. He knocks the ball out of Hurts' hands. Willie Gay Jr. recovers it. But New Orleans has to punt again. Philly gets it to 4th and 1 at the New Orleans 15. This is a 0-0 ball game. They show Tuchesbusch. Instead, they hand it off to Saquon, tackled for no gain. By the way, it's 3-0 at this point. I don't know if in a 3-0 game, late in the second quarter, 4th and 1 at the New Orleans 15, they continually are allergic to field goals. Mm-hmm. It's 3-0. Kick the field goal.
I didn't see this live, but oh boy.
What?
The reaction on Twitter.
Oh, I just don't understand.
I mean, in this one, it just doesn't make any sense.
Listen, I love going for 4th down as much as anybody, but it's 3-0. Mm-hmm. Points matter hugely at this point of the game. They decide to eschew it again. All right, so it's halftime. It's 3-0 New Orleans. Let's see. Where did I pick? 4th
and the biggest problem with that, Gill, I mean, it was, what was there, 12 seconds left on the clock or something, right? So even if you got it, it was kind of like, what were you going to do? You're going to have one play, maybe? Just kick the field goal.
Listen to this. We go to the third quarter. 4th and 3 for Philly from at the New Orleans 34. They go for it again, 3-0 game. Hurts sacked by Brian Breesy. Then New Orleans punted, Philadelphia punted. They got it blocked. But New Orleans returned the favor. And this is the one that seemed to matter the most. It was as long as Philly kept doing it and failing, New Orleans couldn't capitalize. But the one time New Orleans did it, 4th and 1 at the Philly 18 to start the fourth quarter, Kamara was ruled short. Philly took advantage. 4 plays in, Saquon from 65 out, touchdown, early fourth quarter. On the previous play, Devontae got hurt. Kelly texted me, I think Devontae's dead. Then New Orleans gets it to 4th and 6 at the Philly 20. Group A, this time they kick a field goal, 7-6. They cut the lead to 7-6, 9:49 fourth quarter. And then Philly does the opposite thing. They decide to roll Jake Elliott out there for a 60-yard field goal try, up a point, and he misses that. New Orleans takes over at midfield, 9 plays, Cardo Olave from 12 out, touchdown, 2-point fails, 12-7 New Orleans with 2:03 to go. And then a clever mortar kick by New Orleans to force a return and get it below the 2-minute warning. Nice job, good nuance by New Orleans, even though it didn't matter in the end. Philadelphia now with no A.J. Brown, no Devontae. 3rd and 16 at their own 35. They're dead, right? Nope. 1:16 to go. Hurts to Goddard for 61. Blown coverage to the New Orleans 4 with 1:05 left. Saquon in for 4, touchdown. Saquon in for 2, 15-12 Philadelphia. New Orleans has 1 timeout with 1:01 to go. Second play, 2nd and 4 at their own 36. Ill-advised pass. There's Derek Carr. How many people in the country went, there he is. There's Derek Carr. Picked by Reed Blankenship ball game. Philadelphia 15-12. New Orleans, not the same look as they were the first 2 weeks where they scored 91 points. Couldn't do anything in this game. And Philly gave them all kinds of reprieves. Philly could have won this game big.
Should have, probably.
Instead, they need a sort of miracle 61-yard play to Goddard to pull it out. Philly 15, New Orleans 12. Philly, for all of their warts and all of the Sirianni gaffes here the last 2 weeks, obviously the Atlanta game last week, the biggest thing with Philly, we'll get to Philly later, they're still probably one of the 10 best teams in the NFL conservatively. I don't know about New Orleans now. They're at Atlanta, you said? At
Atlanta, yeah. Just real quick, too, on that. I thought schematically, I thought Vic Fangio was awesome yesterday. I couldn't really pick up on exactly what was going on. I thought Adam Chernoff laid it out perfectly this morning on his podcast, Simple Handicap. They were really throwing 5 guys up at the line of scrimmage, Philadelphia, on the defensive side so often, and it was just so much pressure on that running game. And once they kind of stuffed that running game, it made Derek Carr pass. I just don't think that's ever the situation you're going to ideally want to be in if New Orleans. So kind of interesting scenarios. Maybe is that a way we see the Saints get played a lot going forward?
Carr was 14 of 25 for 142. Kamara was 26 of 87, 3 catches for 40, which is kind of containing him.
Yeah.
They were outgained by Philly, 460 to 219.
Yeah. That's impressive. That's impressive.
460 to 219. The Eagles outgained them. Atlanta, Kansas City last night. In case you missed this game, Atlanta went up 7-0. The Chiefs tied them at 7 apiece. Let's see. I'm trying to edit this one on the fly because I didn't edit this one last night. But let's go to the late first half when Kansas City has an opportunity for a double dip. Atlanta actually got the ball back with 59 seconds left, and then Kirk Cousins did a Kirk Cousins kind of thing. He was picked by Chamari Connor. That set up a Butker 44-yard field goal. So it was 14-13 Atlanta at the half, but the double dip was in effect. Butker got a 21-yard field goal on the first drive of the third quarter to put Kansas City up for the first time in this game, 16-14. And then Mahomes to Juju from 13 out, where Butker missed the extra point late third quarter to make it 22-14. A Young Haku 54-yarder would cut it to 22-17. And then last portion of this game, 12:52 to go, 22-17. Kansas City with a 3-and-out. Matt Ariza fields a high snap. Atlanta ends up, and he's able to get it away. Atlanta ends up with a 4th and 5 at the Kansas City 6, down 5. Last sequence of this game. Down 5 points, 4th and 5 at the Kansas City 6, with 4:08 to go, and Raheem Morris decides to go for it. Incomplete, intended for Drake London. PI not called. Were you okay with the non-call?
It's one of those. It's one of those, Gill. No, I'm not okay with it. I think it should have been called. I think that in the problem is with the spotlight on it. It makes it look more obvious.
Well, it also brings out the Chiefs conspiracy theorist, right?
Yeah.
And I would be lying to you if I didn't have the thought in my head.
Yeah.
If that's the Washington Redskins, there's no question that's a PI. Right?
So that, like,
Yeah.
if it's second quarter, I don't know, man. It just felt like a very high leverage moment, and a decision was made.
A decision was made. All right, Kansas City 3-and-out, though. Atlanta takes over again at their own 35. Remember, they're down 5 after a penalty on Kansas City on the punt with 2:21 left. Then 3 more defensive penalties on this drive. These were like all felt, not all of them, but at least one of them felt make-up-y from that non-PI call in the end zone. And that helped Atlanta downfield, one of which felt make-up, as I said. They got it to 3rd and 1 at the Kansas City 13 with 1:03 left. Remember, still down 5, touchdown to win it. Then Raheem Morris, please explain this to me. As ridiculous as what Sirianni was doing in the Eagles-Saints game, Raheem Morris peculiarly calls Atlanta's first time out. Bleed it a little. What are you doing?
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
What are you doing calling timeout?
I didn't get that at all.
Then when Algier doesn't get to the sticks on 3rd down, Morris tries calling another one with 56 seconds left. Bruh, you can get 30 more seconds off the clock.
Yeah, who's on the other sideline, right?
But Andy Reid beats him to it. And Andy Reid's like, you saw, he's so
confused.
I was like, what's happening?
So confused.
So it's 4th and inches at the Kansas City 13. Cousins, as we remember, is not a guy who sneaks. Never has been, really. They hand off to Bijan, but east-west.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Drop for a 3-yard loss. Ball game because Morris used the timeout. So the math didn't work out for him at that point.
I mean, these quarterbacks that can't sneak, you're so limited with your play calling in that situation.
He wasn't the completely career-long non-sneaker that, say, Phillip Rivers was, but you knew the sneak was not a possibility.
We knew that was not coming right there.
That play was out of the equation, and they decided to to try a little non-forward run there, and that was the end of that. Cousins 20 of 29 for 230, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He was sacked twice. I don't know what that play call was, but Raheem Morris made no sense. New Orleans at Atlanta, I split the difference between the 0 and the 3. I said Atlanta minus 1.5.
Yeah, right now it is Atlanta 1.5. Yes, right on.
These are not the most difficult to imagine here. Falcons minus 1.5. That sounds about right.
Just trying to see if there's any movement this morning. No, we are 1.5 across the board right now.
Do you feel any differently about New Orleans or Atlanta after yesterday's games?
A little bit. I think not shocking to see New Orleans come back down to earth a little bit.
I think they're both good teams that have an A game in them. You just can't expect it to come out week after week.
I think that is perfectly said. Yep.
And so in the wash, that means they're not all that great in the end. More guessing lines on the other side. Numbers game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Don't wait until fall to start betting the NFL. Get a jump start now with the VSiN NFL Betting Guide and get prepared for this NFL season like never before. The guide has in-depth breakdowns for all 32 teams, best bets from our VSiN experts, playoff predictions, award market previews, and more. The guide is out now, and the only way to get it is to be a VSiN Pro subscriber. Head to VSiN.com/pro to sign up and join the Sports Betting Network.
VSiN's got you covered for the start of the season with our football special. For $175, you'll get access to everything VSiN has to offer. With VSiN Pro, you'll receive daily picks straight to your inbox, detailed analysis on every game, and exclusive data like our betting splits to help you become a sharper bettor. Get all of this for just $175 through the Super Bowl. Or try a monthly subscription and get your first 30 days for only $9.99. Don't miss out on this offer. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Are you the type of player who's looking to get down $10,000 or more on an NFL line at the best price in the market? Or perhaps you're looking to get your in-game play instantly accepted? Introducing Sport Trade, the app that's going to change sports betting. Minus 104 lines instead of the typical minus 110. Instant in-game betting and a concierge player service. Sport Trade, perfect for those who want a premium betting experience. Sport Trade live in New Jersey, Colorado, Iowa, and now Arizona. It is official. Coming to Virginia early next month. Download Sport Trade, use code VSiN to earn 10% cash back on each wager in your first week. Terms apply. Got to be 21 years or older to play. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. It's Gill Alexander. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Always appreciate the feedback. This is from RB Treff, just to follow VSiN. I'm not much for trigger warnings, but can you let me know when you're going through that Browns quote-unquote performance from yesterday? I had 3 entries in a $1 million Survivor, now just 1 pending Cincinnati tonight. 87.5% of entries gone, maybe too high of expectations for Ohio. That's right around the percentage of the Circa Survivor carnage as well. It's just incredible. That almost 9 of 10 entries, and we're still not done with Week 3, are out. Joe Abraham, 1010. I have a Tennessee ticket on last winless, but Jacksonville at plus 200 seems like a good play now. Tennessee playing Miami this week and Jacksonville at Buffalo tonight and at Houston next week. It seems Tennessee should be the one in plus money. Well, Tennessee should be the one in plus money because there's a Tennessee should be the short shot at this point because they could win tonight.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they can win this market tonight.
So they're in the driver's seat just by virtue of that, right? That we could. I don't know if it's likely, but if Cincinnati were to win tonight and Jacksonville were to win tonight, Cincinnati is likely. But if Jacksonville were to also win, by the way, I am on Jacksonville plus the points tonight. That market is over. Tennessee is your winner.
I had to look. After
3 weeks.
I had to look this up because we talked about this on Wednesday last week, I think it was. We had that discussion. Titans plus 750, Jags 14-1, Bengals 30-1 to be last winless.
Yeah. I can't beat myself up about that. I never really considered Tennessee ever.
Not me either. Yeah. Not at all.
And certainly not Jacksonville or Cincinnati. That's for sure. Also, Andy Nelson says, that play in the end zone with no PI is the exact amount of contact that the Bengals defender had on the Chiefs receiver last weekend. Very true.
I'm going to say a little less after just rewatching them during the break, but okay. I mean, the Chiefs benefited on both. I get it, yeah.
I get the point. Trip Tepper, always in favor of being aggressive, but when scoring is very limited, like the Eagles-Saints game, 3 points is extremely valuable. Sirianni's main job is understanding game flow and scoring pace, which he failed to notice or just ignored. Amen, brother. That's exactly what I'm getting at. Michael Burns letting me know that BYU having a Jewish quarterback is truly one of the great stories in college sports. They had him last year, too. Jake Retzlaff. It is a great story. It's also a great story.
I know that.
Oh, yeah, no. It's one of the most remarkable stories in sports. It's also a great story that kid from Pitt might be, too. You know what I mean?
I was going to say. Saw that score line on Saturday.
Jason H11. Was Jason Kelsey so good at pushing the tuchus that they can't do it since his retirement? They seem to not want to do it as much. And then Chris Lee Miller, I love this one. And we'll read more after this. But he says, I think the difficulty level of this is going to become obvious to smart players talking about Survivor, and they're going to dial it back on entries. But at the same time, I'll be back with my same amount of entries. I love that.
You brought that up multiple times during the end of last season, during the off season, about what you thought the optimal amount of entries was.
I have used the phrase. Joe Pita and I talk about this all the time. I believe there's a point of redundancy. Mm-hmm. I believe there's a point of redundancy with entries, meaning that whether you have 20, 10, or, let's say in a big world you had 100, 10, or 5, or whatever it is, you end up playing them percentage-wise. And so, yes, obviously at the end, there are going to be 3 people, right, that end up with 2 and are going to have some advantage at Thanksgiving over the others. That doesn't prove the opposite, right? It doesn't prove, you see, those people started with more, so therefore that you should start with more. I think for 99% of the folks, it does not matter, right? I think if you start with 5 or 10, the difference is negligible. A slight difference, but not nearly the difference that the increase in entries reflects. So it's not you're not 100% better off. In other words, you're a fraction of that better off, in my opinion. And I think that gets, a year like this, it gets proven.
Yeah.
Especially the carnage we were just talking about. Let's move on. What do you got, son?
All right. Sunday early window still Rams at Bears.
Rams lose, the 1-2 Rams at the 1-2 Bears. The Rams lose to the Niners in the Juwan Jennings game. So, and I thought Brock Purdy was brilliant, by the way.
Brock is awesome.
They didn't have Kittle. They didn't have Debo. They, of course, didn't have Christian McCaffrey. So Juwan Jennings has the game of his life.
I think that was my favorite Brock Purdy game ever yesterday.
I think so, too.
Like,
it's so funny you say that.
Nobody ever called this dude a system quarterback ever again.
Again.
He is a gunslinger that just plays for a good coach, and it was so fun watching him kind of
couldn't agree
get
more.
Creative with stuff yesterday and slinging it all over.
Jennings scored all 3 Niners touchdowns against the Rams. The Niners went up 14-0. Then the Rams came back with a Stafford to Kyren Williams 15-yard touchdown pass where Kyren flipped into the end zone, 14-7. And that would be the score at the half. Then in the second half, the third Purdy to Jennings touchdown from 31, 21-7. Kyren and the Rams would come back with a 6-play, 70-yard drive, 48 of that on a PI. Kyren in from 3, 21-14, late third quarter. Then an amazing 32-yard catch by Jennings to start a drive would end up with a Moody 26-yard field goal. 24-14, Niners up 10 with 11:57 to go. The Rams would get it to first and goal at the 8, but settle for a Joshua Carty 33-yard field goal. And you figured if you were a Rams backer at that point, you're like, well, that was their chance. 24-17 Niners with 6:15 left in the fourth quarter. And then I wrote in my notes, Purdy, sort of brilliant, but Moody misses 55-yard field goal try. So the Niners trying to put it up 2 scores. Moody missed the 55-yarder. There was our fair share of missed 50-pluses yesterday.
Kickers all of a sudden looked sort of human again from distance, Gill.
Little regression to the mean. And then the Rams got the ball back, down 7 with 2:43 left. First play, Stafford to Tutu for 50. To the San Francisco 5, 2-minute warning. 2 plays later, Kyren in from 4. So Juwan Jennings scored 3 for the 3 for the Niners, and did Kyren score all 3 for the Rams or just 2? Yeah, all 3. 1:51 to go, 24-24. All right, but the Niners still have the ball in their racket. 2nd and 10 at their own 43. Purdy to Ronnie Bell downfield, straight drops it. That was his second drop of the game.
So bad. Cut that dude.
Oh, that was bad. And they
so
had
many
a
bad
punt.
drops yesterday.
And the Rams get it back. Xavier Smith returns the Wishnowsky punt 37 yards to midfield with 42 seconds to go. They're in business. First play, 3 defensive penalties, by the way, on defense. They'll take the PI of the choice of the 3 down to the San Francisco 25. Kyren for 6. Sets up a Carty 37-yard field goal for the win. Good. By the way, a pretty robust attempt at a pitchy woo-woo with 2 seconds left. But the Rams hold on and win it 27-24. Coming back from 10 in the fourth quarter. Wow. Stafford, 16 of 25 for 221. Kyren, 24 for 89 on the ground. 2 touchdowns, 2 catches for 27 and a touch. So Juwan Jennings, 3 touchdowns. Kyren Williams, 3 touchdowns in the game. The Rams were outgained 425 to 296. You see a lot of that this week in the NFL. They're playing Chicago, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, listen, I don't know how much we need to go through this game, other than
such a terrible game.
Chicago and Indianapolis played a disgusting football game in which it was sort of like a, hey...
Each quarterback did their best job to try to lose the game at points.
Everything was like, hey, or Anthony Richardson picked in the end zone by Tremaine Edmonds. Caleb quickly returns favor 4 plays in. And so this game was just sort of Indianapolis led it 7-0, and then Chicago would come right back. Like anything you did, they would do. But Chicago got it to 4th and goal at the 1. They pitched it to DeAndre Swift, who lost 12 yards. Yep. So there was all kinds of moments like that. By the way, there was a Hail Mary at the end of the first half, which went into the end zone for the Bears, and it got tipped back out to the 1-yard line, so they just blew the Hail Marys. And it was 7-0. DJ Moore caught it at the 1 and was tackled. 7-0 Indianapolis at the half. And then, Anthony Richardson airmailed a cross-field pass early in the third quarter. That led to a Santos field goal, cut it to 7-3. Chicago had so many chances. Caleb threw it into coverage a little later, picked off a deflection by Jalen Jones, his second pick of the day off Caleb. This is just an ugly football game that came down to... at the end it was 14-9, and then Caleb, first play from his own 18 now in the fourth quarter, he was sacked by Laitu Latu. Latu fumbles, recovered by Grover Stewart at the Bears 16. 4 plays later, Taylor in from 121-9. Bears would go 70 yards to Caleb to commit. 4th and 1 at the Indianapolis 6 with 2:01 left to cut it 21-16, and it was with 2:01 left. So again, these 2-minute warning nuances. Indianapolis, so they declare the onside kick. So they get it north of the 2-minute warning. They declare the onside kick with 1 timeout left and 2-minute warning, and they go ahead and kick a touchback anyway. Indianapolis should have tried to return it to take away a stoppage from the Bears. So instead there was 2:01 when Indianapolis got the ball back. Again, it's a nuance that didn't end up mattering, but again, these are things that the coaches are missing. Moot, because JT went for 13 on 2nd and 6 ball game, 21-16. The Colts end up winning it. I will say the Rams by 3 at Chicago.
Open Chicago 1.5, out to Chicago 2.5 now.
Oh my. All right. I think I like the Rams. As banged up as they are. The Bears should not be 3-point favorites in this game. We'll come back. More guessing lines.
In the heart of downtown Las Vegas, a sports oasis awaits. Stadium Swim, the ultimate outdoor amphitheater, built for the ultimate sports fan, with a colossal screen that brings the game closer than ever. Reserve a daybed, private cabana, or lounge in the center of it all. 6 pools to dive into as the game heats up. And the best part, there's never an off-season. Open 365 days a year. Stadium Swim, it's always spectator season.
Looking for the ultimate sports betting podcasts? VSiN has got you covered. With a wide range of podcasts covering every major sport, we're here to help you make smarter bets every season. The Baseball Betting Show with Greg Peterson gives you daily insights into finding value on each day's MLB card. And check out Long Shots, where we deep dive into the world of golf betting, providing you with expert insights to help you bet every tournament. Find all of these podcasts and more at VSiN.com/podcasts or your favorite podcast platform.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on a numbers game, live from Circa. It's Gill Alexander. By the way, hockey season coming early October. Kelly, are you aware of this?
Oh.
Are you aware of it?
I am. 29 days till NBA starts. Let's go.
NHL Betting Guide Pro Edition. Our Pro Guide includes previews of all 32 teams, Stanley Cup predictions, best bets from VSiN experts. Sign up now, VSiN.com/subscribe, and unlock full VSiN access for 75% off the first 30 days. How about that? The NHL season, I believe, starts on October 4th. I believe. Sign up now, VSiN.com/subscribe. Our preview guides are phenomenal. Adam Burke, front and center at our NHL Betting Guide Pro Edition.
Why do you do that? You know it's October 4th. He always likes to do the I believe and kind of like it's like the Kelly double check, and it's always right.
No, because I'm like 98% sure. So I'm like, maybe I'm wrong.
Devils and Sabres, Friday night, October 4th.
We get tweets at Beat of the Book, Super Jerk 128462. I hate to be the old NFL conservative guy that you guys hate. With 4 minutes left in all your timeouts, Atlanta could kick a field goal. I hate to tell you. Well, I don't know if you're hating to tell me, because that's what I was saying when I went over the game. I agree. They decided to go for it. I'm not really sure why. Super Jerk also says, and I'm not sure, maybe prisoner of the moment, as you say, Nick Sirianni might be the worst game manager I've ever seen in my life as a head coach. What he did yesterday right before the half is another reason he should be fired today. He's talking about eschewing the field goal to tie it up at really 3 apiece. Yeah. Instead, ran Saquon again east-west like the Falcons did with Bijan last night. Jay Welch, 31-31, Jesse Welch. Anybody else having an incredible live betting season thus far? This 3-week stretch has probably been my best NFL stretch ever, and it's been 90% in-game. I have, again, I'm trying to think like my pre-flop, just to give, 3-2 the first week in Circa, and I'm betting these, right? 1-4 last year. If Jacksonville covers, I'm 3-2 this week. So nothing special at all. But like Kansas City, as part of the double dip last night, and there were other moments to play them in-game when they were down, there are moments of in-game. I totally get what you're talking about, and I bet that, and it worked out very well. So, yes, there are in-game moments that will always beat pre-flop bets.
Yeah, I only kind of chuckle because, yes, Jesse, in-game has been better for me the last 2 weeks, but that is not saying much because pre-game plays have been straight garbage. I have one Circa Millions entry that was 4-1 week 1, and then I've gone 1-4, and I'm 1-3 with one pending tonight on that.
Oh, man. Let's see. Jack Larkin from Sport Trade says, apologies for the confusion. Sport Trade not officially live in Arizona, but should be live this week.
Okay.
Let's say. Michael Burns, if Holstein makes it to New York, I'll look for you in the audience. You talk about Eli Holstein and Pitt, who I have 1,000 to 1 to win the Heisman. They were playing Youngstown State, and it's an interesting schedule.
I don't even know what he did. I just saw they had like 60 points or something.
Oh,
right?
No, I mean, they were playing Youngstown State, so he was supposed to have a good game. But they have a bye, Pitt does, then they play 2 weeks of football, and then they have their second bye. So they're 4-0. So you can, if you're the coach, you sort of should compartmentalize it. Okay, guys, we have a 2-week schedule now that we play football in. Let's try to, minimum split these games, and then you use the second half of the season as his own season. It's an interesting bye schedule they have. Jason McKinney, funny you bring up field goals. Field goals made in a game 3.5 plus were 27-5 heading into week 3, as Adam Chernoff said on the Beating the Book Megapod. He said, I made multiple plays on this Sunday, calling Vegas, I am the cooler. That's very true. Let's see. Brad Billups, based on the last 2 weeks, is Shanahan overrated and Purdy underrated? Well, Purdy is definitely underrated. Let's put it that way. And then, let's see. I just want to say this one. Oh, no, we got to all of them. Okay. Let's continue. What do you got on Sunday?
All right, early window still. Vikings.
You did have the one. This is the one I was looking for. I was too late on Ice Cold Gamblers. She said, save your breath. You don't need to go over the Bears and Colts. Do us all a favor.
So bad. It's so bad.
I tried to confine it to a minute.
All right, Vikings and Packers.
Oh, big NFC North battle.
Yeah.
How about the NFC North with the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings?
Oh, my.
Who's the best?
The Lions. I think. The Packers have maybe been... Okay, the Packers and the Vikings, maybe the two most impressive teams in football.
I think you're right.
I mean, the Packers have made me pay for it, but what they did last week, maybe that was a one-off, Gill. Them backing up with it yesterday, I'm very impressed with it.
Nice little Wizard of Oz thing you threw in there. Yeah, well done. Vikings absolutely crushed the Texans. Your de facto best team in the league.
I know, man.
Vikings, 1st and 20 from their own 20 for Houston, actually, after a holding penalty to start. Stroud picked by Kamu Grugier-Hill on a tip. Set up at the Houston 21. Darnold to Jefferson from 6 out a little later. 7-0 Vikings. We're less than 3 minutes into the game. Fairbairn missed a 54-yard try. A lot of 54-yard misses yesterday, or 50-plus anyway. Minnesota, 6 plays, 56 yards. Darnold to Jones, 14-0, late first quarter. Houston gets to a 3rd and 4 at the Minnesota 25. They false start. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
That was wild.
3 straight false starts. Then, by the way, another penalty that was declined. They have to punt. That was kind of the story of the game. It was 14-0 at the half, and then in the third quarter, then there was like a Darnold backwards pass where he got hit and he was ruled as a fumble. Even Minnesota even managed to get 7 yards out of that play. Brandon Powell, and then 2 plays later, PI set up Minnesota 1st and goal at the 1. Darnold to Jake Naylor, 21-0. And that would basically be the story of the game. The competitive portion of the ballgame was kind of over at that point. They got it to 31-7 later in the game. Final score would be 34-7. The main stat you need to know about this game, the Houston Texans had 10 different third downs of 10-plus yards or more. They were just in jail the entire game. Minnesota destroys them 34-7. Darnold, 17 of 28 for 181, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Jones, 19 for 102. That's Aaron Jones on the ground, 5 catches for 46 and a touchdown.
So good. He's so good. These running backs that just get cast away. Like, it amazes me with someone like him. We knew he was going to be good for this.
Well,
team.
someone go to the Giants owner. Like, if you watch the Giants Hard Knocks, he was like, if Saquon ends up on the Eagles, I'm just going to be. You just want to give him a hug. Well, guess where Saquon ended up because of your ridiculous general manager. And then there's Green Bay. Can we just shout out Malik Willis?
Yeah, real quick. Stroud, worst game I've seen him play in like a year, probably.
But if you're 3rd and 10 different times, like what?
No, I hear you. I hear you, but this was Flores was all in the minds of the Texans coaching staff and Stroud.
Absolutely. And then Tank Dell got banged up late in this game. Mm-hmm. I don't know why they had Nico. They took Stroud out for Davis Mills later. They just capitulated. But they had Nico Collins playing late. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
Green Bay.
Oh, Malik Willis, something about that? Should I just give him more money out? Should I just keep giving Malik Willis money?
Malik Willis, 6 plays, 70 yards opening drive. Willis to Jaden Reed from 30 on the first play. 3 plays later to Christian Watson for 30. 2 plays later, Malik in from 5, 7-0 Green Bay. Just over 3 minutes into the game. Tennessee would come back with a 10-play, 70-yard drive. Levis to Nick Vannett from 1 out, 7-7. And then after a Braden Narvison 21-yard field goal to make it 10-7 Green Bay, ill-advised Billy Levi shows up. 1st and 10 at their own 31. Jair Alexander just sitting on the route. Levis doesn't see him. Pick 6, 17-7 Green Bay. It would be 20-7 at the half. Then in the second half, Tennessee 4th and 2 at their own 37. Levis sacked by Quay Walker. That would lead to Narvison miss of a 48-yard try on 4th and 4, but defensive holding on Tennessee. That would give the Packers new life. That led to a Malik to Emmanuel Wilson dump off that went 30 to the house, 27-7. Tennessee would cut it to 27-14, but later in the game, 2nd and 10 at the Green Bay 31, Levis was sacked by Kingsley and Agbare. He fumbled, recovered by Lucas Van Ness. That was it. 30-14. Green Bay ends up winning it. And I don't know, like Malik Willis has been so impressive. I don't know if you saw the post-game presser with Matt LaFleur, who he was basically one of these coach press conferences where he said out loud to the press what he probably says behind closed doors. He goes, "You think you understand, you don't understand." Like anybody was.
Was he talking to me?
He was talking to Kelley Bydlon. He was talking to all the reporters about Malik Willis. You think it's impressive, but you don't get how impressive it is. Okay, Mr. Football, we get it.
I didn't know how the guy was was even in the league anymore. I thought he was that bad with Tennessee.
Listen.
It's been really impressive.
There was some speculation that Jordan Love would play in this game. We thought that he would not.
Yeah.
Jordan Love probably going to play in this game. I said Green Bay -3, and that's assuming Jordan Love plays.
Yeah, and that's where we are. You know what's come down a little bit? We opened mainly threes. We are down to 2.5. So Vikings have taken money. I don't think there's any surprise there. Again, 2 of the most impressive teams to start the season to me so far. And this is mainly 2.5. There are a couple threes out there.
How about we talked about last winless. How about last undefeated? You have the Chiefs. You have the Vikings. You have the Steelers. I guess you still have the Bills as well.
Steelers, man.
Vikings, Steelers, and Seahawks. What's the most sustainable of that group of three?
Seahawks.
I would agree. The fact that the Vikings and the Steelers are in this. Vikings look great, man.
They look great,
Cleve
man.
TA, give him a shout, because he was the first guy who's like, I think the Vikings are good. He's right. They're legit. They're not like...
They're
Pittsburgh,
legit.
Pittsburgh, legitimately, I still feel like they might not get to their win total. Minnesota's a good football team.
I think it's going to be tough for me to keep the Vikings out of my top 10 tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, for sure. By the way, the last half of our top 10s are fakakta. They really are. I mean, the fact that Cowboys are still lingering in mine, stop it. All right, whole bunch more to get to in hour number 2. Guessing lines, looking for value in week 4 in the NFL.
A new football season means a new lineup on VSiN. Start your day with sharp betting analysis.